glistening in the lane. Snow is glistening. You can sing. A beautiful sight. We're happy tonight. Walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away. Here's a new bird. Here to stay. He's the new bird. Sings a love song and we go along. Walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he's Parson Brown. He'll say, "Are you married?" We'll say, "No, man." You can do the job while you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire. Face unafraid the plans that we made. Walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland. Hello, Olivia and David, our band members, faithful, loyal band members, making everything happen. Good morning and welcome. Hello online, welcome. Hello Faith, both Faiths who I know watch from home, and both Roses who I think watch from home, and Mary and Alexander, hello. If you are watching from home right now and you're in real time, especially put it in the chat box so we can say hi to you. Hey everybody here in the room, can you turn and give them a little wave? Hello. Hello, yes, we really exist. And if you are in the room, I invite you to stand as you are able. And we're going to sing Christmas carols together. I know, it's really unusual to be able to sing out. But I know you guys know these songs, at least the first verses. So we'll just do the first verses of several songs. And I'm encouraging you to sing out nice, loud, and strong. Hark the herald angels sing. Glory to the newborn King. Here we go. Hark the herald angels sing. Glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild. God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise. Join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing. Glory to the newborn King. And because very few people know the second verse, we're just going to go right on to Angels We Have Heard on High. How's that sound? Here we go. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Sing it out. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Oh, that was so pretty. Let's do a second verse. I know I only said first verses, but how many people know the second verse here? Shepherds, why this jubilee? We got a couple. We got at least one in each section. All right, sing out really loud, Emily. So it's Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? That means, boy, they were straining to sing, I guess. Why your joyous strains prolong? Don't strain. What the gladsome tidings be, which I really love. Like, what the gladsome tidings be, which inspired heavenly song. Thank God Sarah's here. I would never remember these things. So let's try the Shepherds, why this jubilee, nice and loud. And then when we come to the Gloria, like throw your arms up in glory the heck out of it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, Shepherds. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? What the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song? Sing on. Gloria standing, though. We're going to pray and then sing one more.
And so we take a moment to affirm together our opening statement, which is, there is but one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence.
All right, the one we're going to do is Joy to the World, which I love to, that's kind of my favorite, and it's the one that I think everybody knows. And there's a kind of a marching quality, like I'm marching down the stairs to open up my presents. Like that one. Like there's this like, it's here! I am justified in my smug Christmas morningness. 1, 2, 3, joy. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart, let every heart prepare Him good. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of His righteousness, and wonders of His love, and wonders of His love, and wonders of His love. Well done. Please be seated.
Good morning, and welcome to Seattle Unity, both in the room and online. So for those of you who have prayer requests, please type them in the chat box, and for those of us in the room, the prayer box is right over there, and we'll take a moment to bless everyone following the service. Before we move into our announcements and greeting one another, just letting you know we are having a candle lighting service here in person and online at 7 o'clock on Christmas Eve. So hope to see you then. So let's all stand and greet one another as we watch announcements at home.
When you are able, make your ways back towards your seats, but don't sit in them yet, because we're going to sing another one. We're going to sing Go Tell It on the Mountain. And this has 3 verses, but those are the hard part. You guys just do Go Tell It on the Mountain, over the hills and everywhere. But we'll handle these verses. Olivia, would you please take verse 1? This is hard work on these verses, people. I want you to listen and appreciate these. Why shepherds kept their watching o'er silent flocks by night. Behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Yeah. A 1, 2, 3. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Sing it again, yeah. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that the humble Christ was born, and God sent us salvation, that a blessed Christmas morn. A 1, 2, 3. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ was born. Yeah. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. All right, Sarah Russell.
All right, I'll do one. The shepherd feared and trembled when low above the earth rang out the angel chorus, and that hail our Savior's birth.
A 1, 2, 3. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Tell it, yeah. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Please be seated. I want to invite Inez Lowe forward to give us our reading.
Good morning. My name's Inez Lowe. Oops, forgot this. Not used to this. Good morning. My name's Inez Lowe. Okay. Embracing Christmas by James Dillett Freeman. Christmas is a season, but it is a season not so much accounted for by the inclination of the earth's axis towards the sun as by the inclination of the human spirit toward joy, light, and warmth. Christmas is affirmation. Though the short days may darken our world, they will not chill our spirits nor darken our lives. There will always be a Christmas, as long as the earth shall wander around the sun, and as long as human beings shall inhabit it, there will be the love of light. There will be the generous desire to share good with others. There will be the urge to set a candle in our window and in our mind, and watch it cast its little light across the fleeing darkness. There will be children falling asleep at night, with visions of waking in the morning to a world of dreams come true. There will be singing of old familiar songs. So there will always be a Christmas, even if in some far-off time all our present names and symbols fade from memory, for it celebrates the deepest and dearest impulse of the human spirit, all that is warm and bright and generous, the delight and wonder, the need to worship, and above all, the power to rise above the tyranny of times and things. This year, let us celebrate it joyously by giving generously to those we love and to those that are less fortunate than us. Thank you.
We're coming into a more contemplative part of the service that will include a 3-minute silent meditation. So now is a great time to get comfortable, set aside any distractions, and to be ready for that moment into silence. We'll sing What Child Is This as we go in. What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds guard are keeping. Peace be
not the things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I am not the oh, sorry. I got tongue-tied. We're gonna try that again. You ready, David? I am not on the, oh wow. I was feeling it, y'all. I'm ready this time. I
God
promise.
bless you. God bless you.
I'm not the mistakes that I have made or any of the things that caused me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I've left behind. I am light. 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 I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. Is all light. I invite you to sing with us. I am light. I am light. I am light. Oh, I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. Ooh. I am light. I am light. Now we'll sing We Are Light. Here we go. We are light. 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 Ooh. Last time. We are light. We are light. I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light.
Let's hear it for Sarah Russell. So Christmas is just a couple of weeks away, And, you know, during normal times, our calendars would be jammed, right? Remember pre-COVID, it was like, okay, I got a party here and a party there, and I got to do this and I got to do that. And then one of the effects of COVID is that the number of parties that we've been invited to have dwindled. Yeah, have you noticed that? And before COVID, it seemed that our calendars were booked solid with events. So perhaps a benefit of COVID is that we are able to take a step back, and it gives us an opportunity to sort of reevaluate the season and what it's about, and to stop and discover the core of Christmas. So when I grew up, my family attended the United Church of Christ, went to this really big church, and they had this wonderful Christmas Eve candle lighting service every year, and I loved going there. And for me, that's when Christmas started. It was like it wasn't Christmas, and no matter what I've been doing in my life, I know I've been a minister for a long time, but even before that, I would always find a Christmas candle lighting service no matter where I was, because for me, that sort of anchored in Christmas. And what's interesting is I have a lot of friends from, you know, my old neighborhood and growing up and stuff that have nothing to do with church or synagogues or temples or any kind of spiritual life or holidays of Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever. And it's always curious to me about how one celebrates Christmas or Easter or Hanukkah but not really embrace the story, right? Because when Christmas is limited to exchanging gifts and sharing meals, to me it's like celebrating Christmas 2.0, you know, when you could have Christmas 4.0 or whatever. And what I mean by that is there's the tree, there's the gifts, but what about the core of Christmas? It's like taking the frosting on the cake but not really trying the cake, or having appetizers, but you don't really ever get to the main course. So without engaging in the Christmas story, it's like we're scratching the surface, which can make this holiday kind of seem surfacey and empty, right? So in Unity, we look at the stories in the Bible metaphysically, because it is the story of our unfolding soul. And the Christmas story is no different. It is rich with clues that point the way to developing and birthing Christ consciousness. So it begins when Mary is visited by the angel Gabriel, and he says to her, "Greetings, you who are highly favored, the Lord is with you." And then he tells her that she's going to conceive a child. And of course she says, that can't happen because I'm not married, but the Holy Spirit will come upon you. So metaphysically, the journey of the soul can begin with something unexpected, because it's certainly unexpected, right? Gabriel shows up and it's like, hey, you know, what? And in our own lives, sometimes the beginning of an awakening can begin with something that's unexpected. When we meet somebody new, or we discover something new, or we get an idea that seems like it has potential and it has incredible life and it excites us, it inspires us. And all we know in that moment is that something is stirring in us that can't be contained. You ever had that feeling? And it is as if we are pregnant with possibility. So how does Mary respond to this unexpected news? Does she go away and list all of her limitations? I mean, she does one of her limitations, which is, by the way, I'm not married and never been with a man. But other than that, she doesn't say no. She says, "Truly, I am the Lord's servant. Let everything that you have said happen to me." So when some unexpected opportunity comes to you, you could list all the reasons why you can't do it, right? Not enough money, I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't have enough resources. Or when you have this stirring of something more, you could say, yes, let me be the servant. Let it happen to me. The other thing that Mary does after this is she keeps it a secret. She runs off to be with her cousin, Elizabeth, and she stays with her for 6 months. She goes to the one person that she knows will support her through this. And the thing is that metaphysically, when you have an idea that is stirring in you, have you noticed that if you share it with the wrong person, it just kind of poof, just kind of vanishes when you hear all the reasons why it's not going to work? Jesus called this casting pearls before swine, right? You have these incredible ideas and you just throw them out and then they kind of get trampled. So we can follow Mary's lead and keep this idea, this stirring, a secret, and or share it with that person or person who believes in you so that your idea can take root and grow. Does everybody have somebody like that in their lives? Someone who believes in you? Do you have somebody like that? I'm sure we have both kinds of friends, right? And relatives. Those who hear an idea and are like Elizabeth and say, that's great, amazing, I know you can do it. And others who say, what are you, crazy? That's never going to work. Who do you think you are anyway? And don't you want to hang out with the one who supports you? I have a friend, and no matter what idea I share with her, she looks at me as if I'm brilliant, and she says things like, what a great idea. And not only does she do that, but then she starts like brainstorming without controlling or telling me what to do, but just starts brainstorming different avenues of ideas that I could follow. And I just love sharing ideas with her because I always feel like it's a possibility. Like she just lives in this state of possibility. And she was raised by, her parents were really positive and supportive, and they were the same way as she is, of course. And their story is so interesting because she had, there were 5 kids, and her parents were teachers in New York. And they didn't have a lot of money, but they have 5 kids that they wanted to put through college. So in order to raise money or to get money, her parents went on game shows, on TV game shows, and they won. And then that's how they put all their kids through college. They got a couple kids that are doctors, and it's amazing. And my friend also has been making documentaries lately. So she went to the Library of Congress and she found all the footage from these game shows. And then she created a documentary called Game Show Dynamos. And it's just basically about her parents and how they went on these shows and how they did that. But I see that in her. I see her background and where she's come from. And then she brings that to every relationship that she's in. Just so supportive. So she's a real Elizabeth in my life. And I know we all have Elizabeths in our life, right? So when Mary is solidly pregnant and sure of herself, then she goes home and she tells Joseph and she tells her family what's about to happen. Now, Joseph's first inclination is to divorce her, even though they were just betrothed. He was to divorce her. But in the book of Matthew, we read, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. And so, here is another step in our journey to the Christ consciousness awakening in us, and that is to listen to our dreams and to listen to our intuition, because our spiritual journey is partly nonlinear. And by paying attention to our intuition and our dreams, we may find that we're being guided to the birth of the Christ consciousness within. So, a man by the name of Dmitri Mendeleev. He was a Russian chemist, and he published the first periodic table. And he was trying to figure this out, right? So, you know, he wanted to find a logical way to organize the chemical elements, and he struggled with it for months. And so he would write the elements, names on a card, and then he had one element for each card, and then he wrote the properties of every element on the card. And then he saw that atomic weight was important in some way, but he couldn't find the pattern. So he'd lay the cards out, and then he'd lay the cards out, and he'd play with them. And then he fell asleep, and then he dreamed. And when he woke up, he saw the pattern, and he wrote this after this. He said, I saw a table where the elements fell into place as required. Awakening, I immediately wrote it down on a piece of paper. So the next time you have to memorize the periodic table, I don't think we have to, we're too old, but know that part of it came in through a dream. A part of it came in through the intuitive self. And so that's another step in the journey on the core of Christmas is what are these steps to the awakening? It's being willing to accept and say yes to something that is unexpected in our lives, right? To take that idea and hold it close, that stirring that's within us, or to share it with somebody who believes in us, and then be willing to listen to the dreams. So when Mary was about to give birth, she and Joseph had to travel to Bethlehem because there was a census. And since everyone was on the road, it was crowded and busy. And I can't imagine being 9 months pregnant on a donkey and then having to travel and not really knowing where you're going. And we all know the story. There was no room for them at the inn. So she gives birth in a manger, away from the crowds, away from the noise, away from the music. And this is another step on our journey to the awakening of the Christ. And that is, we have to step away from the crowds. Crowds metaphysically can represent thoughts, you know, the group thoughts, the culture. So we have to step away from the crowds and noise, just as we are sort of being forced to do by COVID, aren't we? We're all being called to kind of step back a little bit. It's the same with the shepherds, being out in the fields by night. That part of the story has always struck me as being mystical because they're out under the stars. And I don't know if you've been looking out at the sky, but there's the moon and Jupiter and Venus all lined up at sunset. So imagine the awe-inspiring sky that the shepherds saw. And I think this also tells us a bit about the Christmas story, about how we need to be open to the cosmos and to the experience of awe. When is the last time you felt awe? Or what triggers it in you? Is it listening to a piece of music? Is it being outside and looking at the stars? So finally in Luke 2, and she gave birth to her firstborn son, and she wrapped him in swaddling cloths, and she laid him in a manger because there was not a place for them in the inn. And so the Christ is born. Love is born. Another core element of the Christmas story. So this week, as you know, we had massive tornadoes in Kentucky, Missouri, and Illinois. And I think for those of us in the Northwest, if we've been from here especially, it's hard to get your head around what that's like. How many Midwesterners? I know we have a Missouri guy over there. So you know the tornadoes. You know what that's like with the sirens going off. And I lived at Unity Village for a year in Missouri. And they actually have built an underground tunnel that connects to all the buildings that are, so you can go from like the cafe. They also did it because it's so cold outside. You may not want to go up top, but it's also for the tornadoes where you can go underground and you can go from the cafeteria to the offices and to wherever you need to go. So the First Baptist Church in Mayfield, Kentucky, and Mayfield was pretty much wiped out by this tornado. And the First Baptist Church was also severely damaged. And the minister, Wes Fowler, was walking through what remained of his church building. And he said, you know, what I've already told our church is that we teach and preach. We teach and preach this, and now we have to live it, which is the campus and the facility is not the church, it's the people. So it's like it's being stripped away of what is essential, what is real, and what is real is love, what is real is the people. The mayor of Mayfield, he's already lived through this once in 2012 in another town that he saw destroyed and rebuilt. And he said this about the last time he'd been through it. He said, what brought us through and what people in Mayfield will see after today is this huge outpouring of care and concern and people coming to our aid. Caring gets us through tragedy, the kind of tragedy we never thought we'd have to go through. So again, it's the stripping down of what is real, what really matters. And what matters is love. What matters is caring. And so in that light, let's just stop for a moment and we bless all those who were affected by this tornado, whether it is that they've lost their lives. And so we bless each soul that is making its transition, her transition into the next realm. And we bless the families who are affected. And may there be an outpouring of love and care and support in prayer, in financial support, in hands and feet that just come and embrace these communities that are suffering right now. So we call that forth. Let us call forth the highest and the best outworking in their lives and the comfort and love of spirit. And we bless that and let it go. I was reading that one of the towns that was destroyed and rebuilt, that when they rebuilt it, they built it green, with wind as a power source, and they purposely rethought the whole town. So there's always this something good that can rise out of the ashes. So as we move into this Christmas season more fully, I invite you to enjoy the gifts, to enjoy the tree and your friends and family in whatever way you celebrate Christmas, and then go deeper and beyond Christmas 2.0. Download a better version. Go to the core of Christmas that is, again, outlined in the Christmas story. Nurture the stirring that's within you and say yes to it. Surround yourself with people who love and support you. And be open to listening to your intuition and dreams. Take time to step away from the crowds and ask yourself, what sparks on me? And let's just take that into prayer as well, just for a moment. So what is stirring in you? Imagine that you're like Mary and you're pregnant with something. What is this idea? What is this calling in you that is stirring? And like Mary, hold it close in your heart. Keep it there. But if there is one Elizabeth, maybe more, in your life, who is that person that you want to share this idea with? And what sparks awe in you? What are those things where you go, oh my gosh, I am so touched and inspired and blessed right now? And when is the last time you let yourself experience this awe? When is the last time you gave yourself over to that event or something that could trigger that in you? So as we go forth this week, we take time to step away from the crowds. We take time to listen to the intuition and dreams. As we know that the Christ mind, spiritual consciousness, is now active in me. And I say yes to the unexpected. I say yes to love. I say yes to the core of Christmas. And it is for this awareness, and in the name and through the power of the living Spirit of truth, that we say thank you and amen.
All right, we're going to get a little funky this morning and talk about some of the simple things in life that we can be grateful for. I know that I'm grateful for. So enjoy this song called Beautiful Christmas. Here we go. It's that time of year, Santa's very busy with his elves and reindeer. I remember clearly when I was a child, simple joys bring me smile. But now what more could I ask for? I've got blessings in my life from the ceiling to the floor. There's so much to be grateful for. I've got joy you can't buy in the most expensive store. No, 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 no. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. Brilliant colors turn the season into bliss. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. I'm with family making up the time we missed. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. Baby Jesus in the manger, so precious. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. See, I've got everything I want for Christmas. Ooh, yeah. Sing a song of peace. Let's create the perfect harmony. Pie, get you a piece. It's enough for everybody. Till the children sneak more. But what more could I ask for? I've got blessings in my life from the ceiling to the floor. There is so much to be grateful for. I've got joy you can't buy in the most expensive store. Sing along if you want. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. Brilliant colors turn the season into bliss. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. I'm with family making up the time we missed. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. Baby Jesus in the manger, so precious. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. See, I've got everything I want for Christmas. Oh, Christmas doesn't get more beautiful. Oh, brilliant colors turn the season into bliss. It doesn't get more beautiful. Hey, hey,
All right, we come to that time in our service where we share our tithes and our love offerings. There are a couple of ways to give. One is the text to give. The number is on the screen. All you have to do is type that number and put in the amount, and there you go. It's very easy. I've been doing it, and it's amazing, actually, how simple it is. You can give through the website, and if you're in the room, there's a box right over there to put in your check and or your donation. However you give and whatever amount you give, know that we are grateful, and know that spiritual law says that it will turn to you 100-fold. So I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude. All right. And so we dedicate and consecrate these gifts to the will, the work, and the way of the living Spirit of truth. Amen. Do we have any prayers that we need to? Oh, they're on my, sorry. It's like, there they are. All right, we got quite a list. So we do not have to know who everyone is because Spirit knows who they are, right? So what I ask you to do right now is to raise your consciousness, and however you do that, through a deep breath, through going to your heart, the top of your head, and know that we join this consciousness as we send forth blessings to Diane and Kathleen, and to Louise and Mary, to Donna and her family, to Mark. I invite you to take a deep breath and recenter in. As we know, the highest and best outworking for Mason and Dee, the Escriva family, for Dana and Roy, Sharon and Keegan, for Amanda, for the Baxter family, for Reet and for Kim. Once again, we hold in our prayers the people of Missouri, of Kentucky, and of Illinois. All the rescue workers. We see the Spirit of light going before Melissa and Adam and Penny. We see divine will outworking in the life of Nolan, of Bob and Karen, of Lewis and Trish, of Nancy, of Gail, of Julie. I invite you to take a deep breath and recenter in as we bless Junie and Laura, Berta and Eric, Mitch and Amy. We hold the light permeating the life of James, of Kay, of Alicia and Carson, of Judy, Mark, Adam, and Penny, and anyone else that you may have thought of who's coming to your mind right now. And for a moment, let us focus again on the people affected by the tornado. May you be free from danger. May you have mental happiness. May you have physical happiness. And may you have ease of well-being. For the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Yes, it is the truth. Thank you, Heather. I invite you to stand as you are able and join us in a closing song. And we'll use this as a prayer as well. These prayers at the end of the service are just a wonderful thing to me. It's a moment where we get to think about the larger community. And so whatever state you're in, if you are able to hold the hand of someone, awesome. But if not, use this as a moment to bless those, starting with ourselves.